What's up, guys? Today I wanted to do a really quick video on how I made this device. And you're thinking to yourself, what is this thing? Before I explain what this is, I have to explain something about my channel. If you haven't been watching my channel yet for a long time, Fingtem Languages is the name of my channel. I do a lot of videos about experiments that I have tried for different techniques and different ways of learning languages, and this is no exception. Sometimes I try new techniques and they totally fall on their face, but that's okay, because even if that experiment has showed me a way not to learn languages, then I've still learned something by doing that. And that's kind of what happened with this device. Now, first of all, what is this thing? I was inspired to make this thing when, after watching a video by a psychologist, and he was explaining some of the best study habits for studying when you're in college. One of the things that he suggested was setting a lamp on your table, just a small desk lamp. Set it on your table, and you get yourself a timer. My light's going off and on. And then you turn on your lamp when it's time to start studying. You turn on your timer. And you do not stop studying while the lamp is on. And for some reason, there's some psychological trick that there's something that just pops in your brain that once you turn that lamp on, you're in study mode. And you do not stop studying until you turn the lamp off. And I don't remember all the science that goes into it or all the psychology, but basically it was just something, it was a very simple method for just getting yourself into study mode. And that way you tell yourself, I'm not going to be distracted, I'm not going to do anything except for study while this lamp is on. And essentially I just took the same concept, I kind of modified it a little bit, and I made this device. Essentially it's just two pieces of wood that I screwed into a long shank. This is a, I think that's a soup can or something. It's just plastic. I painted it black. And at the time that I made this, I was actively learning both Spanish and Esperanto. So what I did was I set this on my desk. It's dusty. I haven't used it in a long time, as you can see. I set this on my desk. And in Spanish and in Esperanto, I wrote the words play, which in Spanish is jugar, in Esperanto it's ludi. And I wrote the words study in Spanish and Esperanto. And whenever I was studying Spanish, I would take my little egg timer. You can tell I haven't used any of this stuff for a long time because it's all dusty. I would take my little, kitchen timer, and I would set it to estudiar, and I would set it on my table just like this, right in front of where I was studying. And I would set my timer to 20 minutes or 30 minutes or however long I wanted to study for, and I would set this right on top of my doohickey. I don't know what you would call this thing, my language learning contraption. And then what I would do is, you can see when this is sitting on my table in front of me, I made myself a rule. I'm not allowed to touch this thing until the timer goes off. Let me see if I can, yeah. So I'm not allowed to touch my doohickey until the timer goes off. And I'm not allowed to stop studying until I turn this upside down, back to jugar. And that was a pretty simple method that I tried to use to get myself into the studying mode. And like I said, it actually didn't work that well for me. I'm not that disciplined that I was able to follow my rule the whole time. And over the years, I've kind of found that formal study just is not as effective for me as other more dynamic living types of studying, like just speaking to people or listening to music throughout the day. I prefer those kind. But I did want to share this method with you guys anyways, just to share it, and because it is an experiment. And what works for me might not work for you. And I also just want to emphasize that all the tips and tricks I tell you on this channel should be taken with a grain of salt. A lot of the things that I tell you that I do personally are experimental. I'm trying them out for myself. And a lot of times they do work, and sometimes they don't. This was, you can tell I put a lot of effort into making this thing. And it honestly didn't help my language study that much, but that's okay, because I still learned something. I learned one way of studying that didn't work for me, right? And so now I'm a more efficient language learner because I'm going to stick to better methods. So that's why I always recommend just experimenting with language learning. Go ahead and give this a try, or get yourself the lamp. This was a pretty elaborate version of the whole plan, making this whole thing. But it was kind of fun, and now I have this cool thing to kind of look back and remind myself back of those days. And who knows, maybe at some point in the future I'll come up with like a better version of this method that might work for me better. So that's it, just a quick video. I wanted to show you this just to give you guys something to think about. If you think this method might work for you, go ahead and give it a try. If you can think of something better to do that's similar, think of modifications to this method, then by all means try those. And please send me a comment in the messages below and let me know of your ideas of how to improve on this method, or how this method may have worked for you. I love hearing those stuff. I love hearing from you guys and hearing how my videos are helping you. And I promise you, this is not an exaggeration. I would say as much as I help you guys with language learning tips, your comments below help me just as much, because I would say almost every day someone comments on one of my videos and leaves a message about a technique or a modification of one of my techniques that they use that I have never even thought of. And it really is beneficial for me, and it helps me to help you guys. So please feel free to comment below, and I'll see you guys in my next video.